Okay, Blaine, focus. It's been a while, but we have to do this. There's no one else in the city that we can trust, and we really need the help. So just be a big kid, knock on the door. There's literally nowhere else to go, so just...
Blaine?
Oh, hey, Marina! How's it going?
Blaine, what are you doing here? Is everything okay? You look like you just crawled out of a war zone.
Yeah. So, funny thing about that, it's a hilarious story.
Were you at the wreckage at the Wisteria Institute?
So, funny story about that. You see, I wasn't exactly digging through the wreckage. I was digging through the Wisteria Institute while it was getting wrecked, actually.
Why am I not surprised?
Look, I know it's annoying, and I know you have every right to slam that door in my face, but before you do, please just listen. Things are getting really bad. Jack is, well, I'm not completely sure what he's doing, but the shadows are back in his life, and it's kind of scary. The outskirts of the city are absolutely terrifying. It's a wasteland, and I grabbed whatever I could before the shadow stuff started taking over. I know it isn't much, but there's some interesting things that I managed to get from locked doors, and, well, I could really use some help going through it.
Okay, so you're asking me to help you scrub through a bunch of old files for something?
No, well, not completely. I'm asking a friend to help me piece together a story. Because I can't do this by myself, and I need someone I can trust. You're the most capable person I know, Marina. And I'm sorry I haven't always treated you like that in the past. It's not fair for you, but hoping we can move on past it. Because right now things are really messy, and I could really use somebody who can see a lot more than I can.
Okay. Go drag your mystery pile onto the table. I'll make tea.
Report of Jack Wright. First found in the city, June 10th, 2020. At the time, Wright was covered with blood and some unidentified black sludge. He was delirious and screaming incoherent ramblings about the Shadowmaker and the Void and other statements over and over. There were reports of him crying and screaming about how the One has fallen, how the realm of light is gone, and how he has destroyed everything that's mattered to him. An emergency helicopter was flown to aid in the situation, as Wright was found deep within the Old Fay Woods by Old Town. After being rushed to the local hospital, Wright was unconscious for a few days before making a full recovery, albeit with a persistent 5-year gap in his memories. All attempts to mentally catch up Wright to the current year have failed. He remains forever stuck mentally within the year of 2015. No other strange anomalies documented at this time. After that, there's a few medical notes, some psych evaluations, a lot of details about Jack in general that seem a little invasive. Interesting. We have the same blood type. That's fun. These notes are really detailed and really extensive. From the looks of it, the Wisteria Institute has been keeping a pretty close eye on Jack since the moment he popped up in the city. But why? It's not like Jack was actively doing anything for a while. Looking at the other logs, it also looks like the Wisteria Institute only really started about 3 months before Jack showed up. But at that point, they were just doing general health and wellness stuff. So why the big switch? And how the big switch? Quantum physics and interdimensional research is a pretty big leap from vitamin supplements and meditation. Unless that vitamin stuff was just a cover for their actual research, which would explain all the notes they have about the void. I don't know. All of these notes are pretty scattered and all over the place. I mean, I was lucky that they left the locked door unlocked this time when I was grabbing things. So it goes to figure that I didn't have exact control over everything that I grabbed. I only tried to take what seemed important, but there was a lot there. I think they might have been researching some stuff about the void before they came to the city. There's a lot of notes here that refer back to Perdition Wood atop some big mountain town, probably Pacific Northwest. This has Pacific Northwest energy. I don't know. I wonder if they got caught up into something bigger and that's how they ended up throwing themselves into the city, or if this is just some elaborate part of something a lot messier. I don't know. A lot of us end up here for a lot of reasons. Who's to say one of those reasons wasn't to save them from the spooky shadow things? Anyways, I can't really speak too much about what the Institute was up to or what they were planning because they're gone now. All of their resources at this point have either been burnt to the ground or absorbed back into the shadows. Like, I'm looking through notes, blueprints, plans for some sort of projection tower, but not much else. A week and a half's worth of research leads to yet another dead end. All I know is that the shadows are building a tower, and that tower is supposed to start splintering reality and manipulating worlds, or some big physics thing that is beyond my basic understanding. And so here we are once again, just watching as powers beyond my control start doing some wacky stuff to the city. Goodness, I love being alive.
How's it going in here?
Currently at a dead end. Unless you know what to do with a ratty old leather-bound copy of Death by Damnation.
That bad?
All I've managed to do is confirm that the Wisteria Institute has been studying Jack since he first came here, and they know just a little bit more about the Void than we do. Anyways, how was your call?
All right. Rex didn't really have a lot to offer, just a few stories about how he had to dance around the 2015 thing with Jack for a while. But nothing serious, really. Jack only really started working at the station a few months before we showed up, so it really wasn't that long ago. I wish I had more. I mean, I do have one interesting story from Rex.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, apparently after their first holiday special together, Rex found Jack standing alone in the studio after everything was turned off. Jack was staring at the soundboard, crying. Rex tried to see what was going on, and Jack just kept repeating. Their plan almost worked. I was almost free. But the Shadow Maker was too much.
Yeesh, that's freaky.
Yeah, apparently he kept doing that for a while. And then every year since, he disappears shortly after he gets like that. Really makes you wonder.
Yeah, well, I don't know what we can do with that. If you want to dive in and take a look into the pile of stuff I have.
Right. I was looking through these notebooks before I called Rex, so maybe I could just take another look?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. I mean, something better than nothing, right?
Hey, Blaine?
Yeah?
How closely have you looked at these notebooks?
I don't know, just a skim. They looked like a bunch of Jack's old stuff, so I didn't really put much thought into it. Why do you ask?
Come over and look at this. I think you overlooked something.
Did I? I mean, it just looked like a bunch of Jack's old...
No, look again. See? Look at how this is organized, and compare that to Jack's notes. Now look at the handwriting. Notice the different forms? There are 4 different distinct handwriting styles in this notebook, and none of them are Jack's.
Are you sure?
Take a look at this notebook and compare it to this one. We know that this one over here is definitely from Jack. You've said that and confirmed it multiple times. Now compare it to this one. You see the difference? This one isn't from Jack.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it. So what are we looking at? The Super Friends Planning Journal? A lot of people wrote stuff about Jack. I don't see why this one matters so much.
That's what I thought too at first. But now that I'm taking a closer look, I don't think this one is from a Wisteria researcher.
But it came from the Wisteria Institute.
I know, but really look at this. Look at how it's written. Look at how it's organized. Noticed anything? There aren't any notes about the void in scientific terms, or Jack's blood type, or any of that big rambling scientist jargon. Scientists didn't write this. The tone's too casual, the history notes are way too splayed out. Look at the focus. They're not talking about researching the shadows or anything. They're talking about navigating the shadows, the void, fighting the Shadowmaker, making plans. Blaine, this isn't a research journal. It's a rescue plan.
Okay.
Blaine, I think somebody from the outside world was trying to save Jack. That's why he kept mumbling about someone getting close to freeing him every December. Somebody was trying to save him. Multiple somebodies, judging from the handwriting and notes. Look, right here on the first page, they even wrote down their names.
Ben Arnold, Emily Potter, Lily Wright, Sammy Stevens? Wait, wasn't Jack's fiance? I think his name was Sammy.
Blaine, do you remember the notes we got from the community a few years ago? It's been a while, and that was one little blip in a long line of things happening. But I'm pretty sure I remember getting a couple of notes talking about Sammy and Emily, and even a Ben coming back to finish what they started.
Yeah, but I always figured that was about, like, some casual normal thing, you know, like a sporting event or like a half-baked podcast that died before it could reach its peak, you know, normal stuff. Not, do you really think it could be all of this?
Blaine, we live in a city that has a bad habit of sending us cryptic and ominous notes whenever they want us to get moving onto a direction. Do you really honestly believe that little messages from people from a different world are completely out of the question?
Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh, that would explain so much, and why Jack burnt those notes after we were done with them.
I know. And looking at the plans right here, it makes sense. I mean, look at this. They had to have been planning stuff since at least 2018.
So that would make this... No way. No way. How did this even end up here if it came with Jack? There's no way.
I don't know, Blaine. You're the one that dug it out of the Institute's bowels before it blew up. Take a step back and help me walk through this. When did Jack end up in the city?
June 2020. Why do you ask?
The notes cut off right around December 15, 2019. Right before Jack ended up in the city. And the last thing they have written down here is a plan to use the radio station to lure Jack out from the shadows.
Yeesh, that's really freaky.
I know. Did Jack ever see this notebook?
Nope. The Institute kept all of this locked up behind a door, along with all the other creepy Jack notes.
Did you find anything else like this?
Besides that creepy Death by Damnation book, not really. There were a few crumpled notes and somebody's car keys, but not much else. just sort of grabbed what I could before everything started bursting into flames.
Okay, so we get a book, a journal, and keys. Blaine, could you remind me again how Jack was found when he ended up in the city?
Half dead, covered in blood. Search and rescue found him out by the Devil's Gate hiking trail after reporting a massive burst of energy that set the entire area on high alert. They had to pull him out carefully because of the state he was in and how deep into the trail he was. There was a helicopter flying and everything. Why do you ask?
I'm just wondering if Jack was the only person they found that day.
What?
Think about it. Jack ends up in the city early and around 2020. We have records of his friends and family trying to save him late 2019. They made plans, and then suddenly, without warning, Jack is found in the most suspicious hiking trail in the most suspicious part of this city, covered in blood and delirious. And judging from those medical reports that you had me check earlier, it wasn't his blood. So tell me, what do you think happened to Jack and his friends?
Probably a fight or something.
The last thing they wrote was a plan to save Jack from the shadows. Every single December, right around the holidays, Jack starts crying about how he was almost saved. I think Jack's friends got close to breaking him free from the shadows. There was probably some sort of altercation. The shadows fought back, and in the mess of it all, everyone ended up being swept away to the city. And I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. The city likes to take people in when they're at their lowest point and have nowhere left to go. How much lower can you get than the shadows beating you down and threatening to take everything over?
We need to get more details on that night.
I know. There has to be some other thing that can confirm whether or not Jack was the only person they found that day.
Probably, but getting the police records isn't going to be easy. It's a mess trying to get the cops to cooperate, and they don't exactly like journalists poking around their personal space.
I have a workaround.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah, actually. My friend Jeremy has been helping to organize and archive police records from the past 5 years. It's a part of some library assistance thing he's doing to help the city get on top of its files. I'm sure if I ask him to keep an eye out, he'll find something.
Oh, wow, yeah. No, that's a good idea. It's great that you have all these connections. I never would have thought of using those.
Yeah, well, this is just what happens when you actually consider and take care of the people around you.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, that was a little harsh.
No. It's called for. In the past, I've had a serious problem of pushing people away. I know this about myself. I know why I'm like this, and I'm trying to do better. I know it's not much, but I promise I'm trying. So thanks for taking me in again. I know I'm not the easiest person to work with, but couldn't do any of this without you.
It's fine. We're friends, okay? We'll worry about the big, heavy stuff once the city isn't falling apart. All right?
Yeah, all right. I'm going to go make a couple of calls. Maybe see if I could get some hospital records. Think you can handle going through the Super Friends notebook without me? I'll do my best. No one knows for sure how the Shadowmaker came to be. Legends tell of a strange entity that commands the darkness and whispers secrets into the hearts of men. A powerful force created from the shadow of the devil himself. It stalks the darkened lands, seeking innocent people to join its cabal of tortured souls. It speaks to all who will listen, promising everything they could want and more. It lures people to places and things where the barrier between worlds is thin. And then it claims its victims. Those who are taken vanish without a trace, never to be seen from again. All that remains are their names, written down in the journals of those who have seen the shadows. Everyone who was, everyone who is, and everyone who is yet to be is written down in those books. The Shadow Maker exists in space outside of time and all we know. Everything is always happening. Everything has yet to happen. All that the shadows touch exists all at once within the shadows. The only thing keeping us safe currently is the barrier between worlds. The Shadow Maker is bound to the void, trapped there by its nature. It's unable to cross over on its own into our world, at least not without any help. For centuries it lay dormant, but some vessel always comes to call upon it eventually. The year is 1868. It's the Pacific Northwest of America. The gold rush is dying down, and people are settling into what will soon become towns and cities and states and everything else that comes with that. A young boy and his twin sister are playing in the woods. There's an accident. Children are severely injured. Their father is desperate to save them. All forms of medical care available fail. The boy dies. His sister soon follows after. The father is left broken. Their father is left in the perfect position for the shadows to strike. The record is hazy of what happened that day in the woods, but what is known is that the border between worlds was broken, if only for a moment. A man was marked, the shadows expanded into the world, and 2 children were consumed as the doorway opened. Years would pass, and multiple attempts would be made to close the door. None could ever fully banish the shadows back to the void. So many people were marked, and so many more disappeared. However, not all was lost. Some survived, long enough to compile everything they learned from the shadows. Their words were bound into a book, and that book contains a prophecy. The protector, the strength, the heart, and the one will all come together and vanquish the Shadow Maker once and for all. How accurate this is, and whether or not it worked, well, at the time, things seemed pretty hopeful. All the notes are pointing towards the best possible outcome. But from the looks of me sitting here in 2025, looking at what appears to be dead people notes from 2019, yeah, I don't feel super confident about how things played out. They had all the pieces they needed to fight the shadows. Sammy Stevens, the protector, Lily Wright, the strength, Ben Arnold, the heart, and Emily Potter, the one. They had notes, they had diagrams, they had all the creepy looking letter rune things that I've seen in Jack's notebooks, and yet we have no idea what happened. There's a gap in the journal from January 2020 to when Jack is found in the city, and I just don't want to assume the worst, but again, it's 2025, and the shadows are causing problems, and Jack was half insane when they found him. So I don't feel optimistic. But hey, bright side, we have their notes, we have their creepy leather-bound book, and we have potential possibilities. If we could just find out more, maybe we could do something. Oh well, it's not like anyone's still around to tell me what happened.
But what if there was somebody?
Oh, jeez, you startled me.
Sorry about that. Find anything on your end?
Just that our mysterious notebook writers did an awful lot of research about the shadows before they mysteriously vanished.
Anything we can use?
I have no idea.
Well, I had a little better luck on my side. Jeremy managed to find some reports from the day Jack was discovered, and there's some interesting things.
Oh yeah?
Apparently, Jack isn't the only one they found that day. According to the report, Jack was there, but also another man who was in critical condition from a massive stab wound and several lacerations. Apparently, he was so messed up and they were so far up the trail that they had to fly in a helicopter to secure him.
But the Wisteria Institute's report didn't mention anything about a second person. I know I didn't have all the pages, but still.
Apparently, it was kept off of public records for safety. Sheriff Hawthorne was worried that it would bring attention back to the void and cause more problems.
Even in death, that woman still vexes me.
Apparently, they flew the other guy to May Lily Hospital, which was the closest hospital they could take him at the time. The report doesn't say what happened to him after that, but it's a start. And Jeremy's looking into the other details to see if he can find anything.
Okay, so we have a lead. This is pretty good, and it's pretty big. We have all of that. Maybe a potential way to figure out what to do with this whole shadow thing. Is there anything else?
Yeah. You should go look outside.
Why? What's up?
Just go look out the window, specifically towards downtown.
All right. I guess I'll... Whoa. What?
Yeah, I noticed that when I stepped out to make my call. It's bad.
Downtown is currently under a pitch-black swirling void of blinky colors under darkness. I don't think that's just bad. I think the shadows are starting to take over. Oh my gosh, what do we do?
No idea, but we should probably figure that out soon. Dreamgirl City is a production by N.J. Scholes. It was written, produced, and acted by N.J. Scholes, with some minor inspiration from King Falls AM. Have questions? Have comments? Want to join the community? Email us at dreamgirlcityradio@gmail.com or check us out on social media. Feel like supporting the podcast? Please rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts and share us with all of your friends. We grow by word of mouth, and so anything and everything you do is a big help. Thank you so much to everyone joining in and sticking with us through this all. It's been a very exciting ride, and we are just getting started on the big, interesting, and exciting bits. I hope you'll stick with me through it, and until next time, just remember, he is crying because all the ones he loves are dying.